Will we return in a storm of frustration as we miss out on key targets to improve the centre of our defence in January? And speaking of storms, we've got Champions League action tonight, and we start in the hail in Hamburg. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 169 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today for a Champions League doubleheader sandwiched by an SPFL trophy game. We'll play that off camera in between Hamburg and Almeria, two very good away games for us in Europe. The first one in the hail in Germany, a chance for us to secure our passage through. We need 1 point from these remaining two fixtures realistically, and Linfield need the same in much tougher tests. If you're looking forward to seeing that, how the other sides get on in Europe, and what we've tried to do in January so far, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Of course, we've also had plenty of action on the pitch during a busy festive period, so let's start with all of the games we've played, because you were with me for the ridiculous draw against Linfield with our backup team, and that narrow 1-0 defeat against Bayern, when more disappointingly, Linfield lost 1-0 at Bodo Glimt. Since then, though, we've played basically bottom half sides for the most part, and bar the one good side we've played, we've battered all of them. So we started with a 5-0 against Glenavon. It was Howard, Thompson, Misselidis, Bird and Scully. A 4-3 in a League Cup semi-final at Larne, a bizarre game, and another worry defensively like the Linfield one. But thankfully, David Close got a brace as well as Balikci and Davis. A 6-0 win against a poor Warren Point side with 2 for Howard and 4 for Scully. A 2-1 win, a narrow one against Coleraine. It was Johnny Merival Austin from the spot and Balikci with a late winner. A 4-0 win against Ballymena on Boxing Day. 2 for Merival Austin, 1 for Balikci, 1 for Scully. A 9-0 win against Dungannon. Are they the side we beat 12 last time? They are. We've definitely got their number. Scully got a hat-trick, so did Howard. 1 each for Burns, Halston and Misselidis. The red card didn't make much of a difference. We were already 7 up at that point. A 5-1 win against high-flying Glentoran. We'll keep an eye on them because it looks like they're going to break the big 4. They've got a big improving striker and they've signed well in January already. The 2 for Paleka and 1 each for Close, Balikci and Zheng was enough to get a comfortable win. Against Inverness in the SPFL trophy, Zheng was at it again, this time alongside Lonsdale and Howard. A late red card made no difference. A 4-0 win against Crusaders thanks to O'Donnell, Close, Urza and Zheng. A 4-0 win again against Glenavon. David Close scored in the first minute, followed by Zheng, Balikci and Paleka. You can see those young stars that we've signed in the last year or two. They're really starting to improve now. And Zheng was at the double against Ballymena. I think the lad's settling in. He got 2 alongside Scully's 1, and that sent us through in the Irish Cup. It is a little bit weird this season though, I have got to mention it. If you look at some of the other finals we're playing, it's not Linfield and Larne who have been prioritised in Europe. In the Shield, we're playing Glentoran. In the League Cup, we're playing Coleraine. And in the Irish Cup, we've seen 1 or 2 of the bigger teams tumble already. So it's a little bit unique, but still, we're in a very good position. I have got to mention Coleraine very quickly. They have finished their Europa Conference group, and they finished it with a draw against AEK Athens. And crucially, that puts them 16th, which means they'll have home advantage in the playoff. Larne, they did manage to get a win in the next Europa League game. They're on to 5 points, but it does still look pretty unlikely. They're probably going to need another win. And if you look at their last 2 games, they're at home to Mainz and then they're away to Lyon. It's not particularly easy. In terms of Linfield, we know the scenario from the last episode. That disappointing defeat against Bodo Glimt. How crucial is it going to be? Because Real Madrid and Chelsea next week, they're probably going to need a point. They're in 15th, they're on 9. If results really go their way, then they might sneak in. They've got a decent goal difference as well, but that might not be the case after the next 2. So I'm a little bit worried about their future. But 3 wins is definitely an improvement on last year. So that is how all the things look on the pitch for us and the other sides in the nation. Let's have a very quick talk about January though, because as you can see from this screen, we've brought nobody in. We've loaned out a few youngsters who are doing okay, but frustratingly, no signings. Now, the reason for that is because we've gone for a couple of big ones and we've not got them. You've seen the kids from Valerenga plenty of times. We went for the young centre-half, failed a work permit again. went off to Milan. The striker still not willing to join. We can't get any of the other big strikers we had been looking at, and we missed out on a few other targets. But the one I was really disappointed to miss out on was Ryan Pollock, but he agreed to sign a new deal at Leicester because they promised him first team football. Now, I was going to bring him in as my backup centre half. He would have been homegrown in the nation for 0 to 21, the domestic squad, albeit not in a Champions League. But he decided to stay at Leicester, and now he's got a much bigger release clause. So it's been a really frustrating one for us, and we are at that stage now where if we're going to sign improvements, they've got to be big ones. We've missed out on free agents, so Potter, not willing to discuss terms with us. He's out of contract at the end of the season. The one that we might end up with, I'm going to show you very quickly now if I can, is this guy from Brentford, Ross Jones. He is a number 10 who is out of contract at the end of the year. I'm looking at him as my replacement for, say, a Morgan Griffiths and other people like that, just to add a bit of depth to the squad, probably behind Balikci. He's not willing to discuss terms just yet, but if we can get him for free, that would be a great steal. On the subject of Morgan Griffiths, I have got to very quickly reflect on a huge moment for the club, because we don't often get to talk about these things in saves. Let's go to the records, because Morgan Griffiths, by one, despite not featuring much the last year or so, is now the record league appearance holder for the club, which in this save at least will not be broken. If you guys carry it on, you may break it with people in future, but this man deserves big credit. 317 league games. He's been here since what? The age of 18? He was a first teamer for 6 or 7 years. He's then been a rotation option for 4 or 5. This year he's an emergency backup after that brief loan spell at Bristol City. But he's a real great servant for this club, and still he doesn't complain, he gets on with it, and he's here for at least another 11 months. So we're going to make the most of that while we can. With all of that out of the way though, let's move on to 2 big games in the Champions League. We'll have a quick look at what the other sides in the nation have done in the window as well, but we know most of that is going to be later on. But there is a big sign-in for both Linfield and Glentoran. Linfield went early to bring in a squad player from Bray Wanderers, 300 grand on a good squad option, and with the amount of football they've got, just good to have people of that nature in. Probably similar to like a Morgan Griffiths. And in Glentoran, 50 grand spent on an Exeter defensive midfielder. He's actually pretty decent and is a good player for them. So, a bit worried about Glentoran maybe breaking the top 4, but it won't matter if they do well in Europe next year. Let's go and get through to our first fixture though, because we've got to do well in Europe tonight. Linfield will probably struggle at home to Real Madrid, but if we can nick a point at Hamburg, we are through with a game to spare. Well, let's see how it gets on, shall we? Going back to the first team after resting everyone in the weekend's game. Let's get our 11 confirmed. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Well, a couple of bits of news as we return to this screen. The first one is that after a few months mercifully without, John Amerifal Austin is injured again. Jordan Howard for the next month or so as a result will become our first choice right winger. But we've got Zheng, we've got Missalidis, and more importantly, we've got a young superstar, Emmett McNair, who came through last year's youth intake. We've got 3 Emmets in the youth squad as well, which is a bit odd. But he is starting to show signs of real quality moving forward, and at domestic level is already able to compete. He's made 4 appearances in the senior games, in fact 6, because including the League Cup. So he's definitely going to be one for the future. Probably not before FM23 finishes, but again, for those of you who carry on this save, you'll have great fun. Cameron Thompson is now the best left back at the club. I'm persisting with Urza and Davis because at times in January, they've both been wanted by big clubs. And if we can get around 10 million for either of them or Bird, I think we're going to take it now. So I'm just trying to put them in the shop window where possible. This is the team for today though. It is Morgan Hassan in goal. Reed and Urza the fullbacks with Davis and O'Donnell centre half. Reed just about hanging on to his shirt because, let's be fair, Matthew Freeman is almost level with him now. Maybe not quite as good going forward, but defensively, rock solid. In midfield is Bayavang and an ever-improving Xavier. Howard on the right, Paleka on the left, and Balikci behind close up front. Let's go and get into it with the proper screen showing. Lots of goals in that front 4, a bit more spread out than normal, and quality on the bench as we need it. Let's go and get through to the first game in Hamburg, and hope it can be Champions League jubilation tonight. Well, I'm afraid our friends at Hamburg are struck by both of the glitches from this save starting in the beta. The first one, they've not got a manager. The second one, they've not got a full subs bench. No wonder They've not been in Europe before this. Yarmouk is still a superstar. I've tried to sign him before, but the wage demands are unbelievable. Hamburg is a big trip away from home. Let's go and get through all of the music and the introductions and into the first half highlights. Time to put last year's disappointment behind us. Well, here we are, just 4 minutes in, as Gavin Reed has got a free kick. It's headed away as far as Ademir Bilicci, and it's out to Reed on the left again with a very heavy touch and a poor one. It's a chance to be brought away by Hamburg here. It's into midfield. You can see we're swamping them, we're pressing high. Once they've beaten it, we're in big trouble, which has happened here. Down the right they go with Geiker, through ball over the top. They've got a chance to score, and they will score. We're one down already. We're going to VAR. There is no way this is getting disallowed. Hamburg lead 1-0. And again, from our own set piece we've conceded. Becoming a bit of a problem this year. Well, we might not have had the best start ourselves, as O'Donnell's up from a corner. It's headed off the line. Back in again, out to Ademir Bilicci. I think it hit his own man. It did, and it was offside from O'Donnell too. The big news at the moment is Real Madrid are still being held at Linfield, which seems unlikely to last for another 3/4 of a game. As Ademir gets away down the right, cuts it back for Howard, into David Close. Deflected shot straight through to the keeper. We're having chances, and bar that one little lapse, we've probably been the more threatening side, as Ademir gives it away, trying to find that through ball. Don't mind that if he's looking for the big pass. But it's cleared away, and Yarmouk is a good player. That one was offside though, surely. No, goal kick given. Made the run again. Linfield still 0-0, and we're trying to hang on. I got briefly excited seeing all those names under them. But no, they haven't scored a goal. Davis heads away, a free kick from Hamburg, and again, they're managing to deal with that second ball pretty well. Into the edge of the box with Knurt. Is anyone going to close him down? Please, for the love of God, will someone defend here? I'm keeping an eye on Linfield. Their game's now disappeared off the screen. Every other game showing either side of it. And Hamburg are starting to have a very good spell, and they're playing through the middle of us like we're not there. Yarmouk gets in. It's a good save from Hassin. We have got to be better than that. Linfield are still 0-0. And at the moment, they're looking closer to getting through than us. Almeria is going to be a big game at this rate, as here come Hamburg yet again. We've dropped a balance just to try and stem the tide a few minutes. It doesn't seem to have worked. And we're seeing the quality now from the Bundesliga side. Still one of the best leagues in Europe, and showing why. As here they come again with Nürnberger. Inside to Fritz. We're pressing them high, but they've beaten it yet again. In behind they go down the right-hand side. Crosses blocked to Sinter. Away to Close. He gets it wide left to Paleka. This is the chance on the counter. It's where both sides look most susceptible defensively. Paleka cuts in on his right. Good cross to Close. Off the woodwork. Great opportunity. A brilliant ball in. But still 1-0 down at the break. Real Madrid still being held at Linfield remarkably. And I'm going to say we've been unlucky, because we have been in this game. But they took a chance. A poor one to give away. As a result, we're struggling and trailing. Here is Davis at the back though. Maybe they'll go a bit more defensive this half. Urza on halfway. Back to him again. Davis has options in midfield, but goes short to O'Donnell. Plays the simple ball. Sinter finds Bayavang. He cuts it back to Davis. Into Urza. Sinter again. Who's looking forward? We're just keeping the ball for the sake of it. Hardly a key highlight. Maybe it's going to be one of those 40-pass goals. Who knows? Not like that, it's not. O'Donnell hoofs it over the top. Close hits the post again. Oh, it's the second time tonight. How is your luck when you need it most? Now, if Linfield hang on, which they're not, they're 1-0 down. Both of the Northern Irish sides are suddenly in trouble. Linfield missed a penalty in their last game, which would have sent them through. We've hit the post twice here, and now the crossbar. Oh my God. What is going on? We've been so unlucky tonight. Linfield now 2 down. That's game over. We've got just under 20 to go, and we've now got to run for it. We are going to take Close off for Big Mark Scully. Let's get the ball into the big man. Paleka's anxious. You'll be replaced by Inform Zheng. In defence, Davis has been poor. Thompson on for him. Freeman on for Reed, who's not been great and on a yellow. And then we've got nerves and anxiety from Bayavang in midfield. He's going to be replaced by Chris Halston, who is improving massively. We just need a goal. One goal and it's job done. But is it going to come? I've got a feeling it's not. It isn't looking good. We're going to go attacking. We're going to chase the game. at risk of getting torn apart at the back. We've got a free kick in the 92nd minute. This would be incredible. Belicci to take to the front post. He's offside. Zheng's at the bar again anyway. I mean, I cannot believe what I'm watching. 4th time off the woodwork. And of course, they're going to time waste with this goal kick. Of course, they're not going to be punished with it either. As Zorg tries to play the ball downfield. Big ball away from Thompson. Ademir gives it away. And that's going to be it. They're seeing out the clock frustratingly. We're going to lose this by a 0-0. And the Almeria game is going to be big pressure now. They are one of the worst sides in this group stage. They're right at the bottom of the table. Although, hang on a minute. Urza to Zheng. Last chance saloon. Zheng down the left. Don't go backwards. You've only got 10 seconds, man. Given away, and it's cleared from the edge of the box. Almeria are near the bottom of the group. We've got a chance to beat them. But now it's the pressure of having to get a result. It was unfortunate. It was a decent performance, but one silly early goal has cost us. We lose 1-0. Real Madrid managed to do the job against Linfield. They win 3-1. And now you look at the table, it's perilous. 9 points, I can't see it being enough. We're going to need a result, and Linfield probably are too. Let's go and get through to the next game. We'll play TNS off camera. We'll be back in a minute for crunch time. Almeria away in a Champions League. Well, there's no denying it. This has become a far bigger and higher pressure game than I ever thought it would be. Linfield have got a big job to do as well. We could both go crashing out of the Champions League tonight. Lana hanging on by a thread in the Europa. They drew with Mainz to stay just in the mix. For us, though, we need to get a result. And after the weekend, we should be full of confidence because we rotated against TNS and Mark Scully was in form. All 5 goals in a 5-1 victory. We managed to rest most of the first 11 as well. We've got a suspension for Gavin Reed, so Matthew Freeman will start. We have more frustration in the transfer window. And has there been anything else across the nation in the last week? Not really from the top sides, just players going out on loan. So let's go and get through to the second of today's games. We're away at Almeria, Linfield away at Chelsea, and both of us probably need a point. Let's see what our fully changed team can do. Hopefully they're well rested. Let's go and run through the 11. Well, Almeria sit bottom of the league stage. They're in 36th place and they have got 2 points. So they haven't won a game yet. And if that doesn't change tonight, we should be through. David Bird is not quite back to fitness, so McNair is on the bench again. But the rest of it is pretty much as you'd expect. And I think, bar Freeman coming in for the suspended Reed at right back, we are at full strength and the same team that we played last midweek. So let's just go and get straight into it. Scully's in form on the bench if we need him, but hopefully it won't get to that. Almeria, here we come. Well, the same issue for them, albeit they've got a few more very good players, but they're a side that sort of had a miracle to get into Europe. They've not been there before. We've seen a few weird sides getting in from those bigger nations to Europe since we put the leagues on. So combined with the glitches from the beta, maybe it is just another one of those. We're going to drop to balance from the start so we don't get caught early. And then we'll try and grow into the game. Through the music we go into the first half. Let's go and see those highlights. Fingers crossed. Positives to come. Well, 20 minutes gone. I'm afraid Linfield are already behind. And this is the first we're seeing of this game. So we have calmed the start down. As Xavier gets it in the centre circle. Plays it down the line to Paleka. Has got options in the middle but goes alone. And it was probably the wrong choice. A little selfish. And it stays 0-0. 25 on the clock. Was that a second Chelsea goal I just saw? We'll have a look in a moment. But for now, I'm a bit more worried about this attack from the Spaniards down the left. Into Alonso. Chipped in behind. It's poor defending. And this time it's us getting away with the woodwork. Really not a good performance there. Chelsea are indeed 2 up. So Linfield probably out now. 9 points better than they did last year. Still better than we did last year as well. But we are hanging on by a thread. And we could really do with a goal. Urza has got the throw. Very advanced position on the left to Xavier. Back to Belicci. Deflects in. It wasn't the greatest finish in the world. But that little touch off the defender just took it away from the keeper. And it bobbled over the line. With 40 minutes gone, it is 1-0 to the Distillery. And I would certainly take that tonight. We're going straight from the kickoff, which is a worry. As Kaladzic, their star man, gets it at right back. But it's been given away. Paleka can chip over. Close will chase. Can't quite get there. And I'm not sure we fully adapted to having him up front. It's worked great for the nation. And of course, he scored lots of goals, but we still look a bit more of a threat when Scully's in there, if I'm being honest. So a big man, definitely the target next year. As Davis gets it into Baleka, he's behind the right back. Lays it back for Balikci again. Oh, that's almost a stunner. Flying effort just wide of the far post. And it could have been game over. As it is, it's still 1-0 at half-time. It's all to play for. Plenty of away fans there in the stadium. But a really good performance so far. At the moment, we're going on to 12 points and we are going through, well, in the top 16 as it stands. Derry City going through as well. It could be another reunion with them, imagine. But here is Alonso. And now there's a chance for Almeria to push on with Perez. Not the best defending there. Maybe in those big games when we get later in the Champions League, maybe I sacrifice Balikci for a holding midfielder because we've noticed this in these away Champions League games. Teams are playing through the middle far too easily. So maybe we go for a holding mid as Caicedo gets it wide to Loring. Out to the right to Kaladzic, and they've got space to run into here. Do not let them nick a goal from their first shot on target. Do not FM me today. Ball in to the front post. Great save, Hassan. Freeman clears away. That's brilliant goalkeeping. And we stay 1-0, but that's the best chance they've had by a mile. And they've got a free kick now as they push forward. Big ball over the top. Sinter does very well there. Diving header back to the keeper. Lovely animation too. I'm a bit worried about those yellow cards at the back. As Urza brings it into Sinter. Out to Urza again. Give me a second goal, please. Not going to get one with a ball like that. But Bayavang wins it back for Howard, who again loses possession straight away. It's not fluid, is it? It's not completely convincing. As Perez gets it back. Another one of these long highlights, scrappy ones. It's going to lead to a shot, isn't it? And at the moment, it's looking like Almeria, who are in behind with Alonso. Options in the middle. We get done by this quite a bit. Deflected, but the centre-half's out of position. Badgie crosses, Urza away. Only as far as Aronson. He finds Fidalgo. Great challenge, Xavier. Loses the second one, though. Fidalgo shoots just over. I think we need to think about subs here. Howard is struggling. Davis is having a stinker at the back. He's going to be replaced by Thompson. And I'm going to replace Howard with Zheng. I'm going to switch Paleka to the right. They're my two for now. We've got half an hour to go. And at the moment, 1-0 is a good night. Linfield are currently missing out by 1 place and 1 point. And we're in 16th, fighting out with Derry City, who are winning at Bayern Munich, no less. Let's go and make a couple more, because Bayavang is shattered. He is going to be replaced by Chris Houston. We've got Paleka on the right, not doing great. I don't really have many options out there. It's Misselidis or it's Lonsdale. I'm going to go for Lonsdale this time. And I am going to replace Close up front. I'm going to go for Mark Scully, who has been a threat in the big games. 15 to go. 1-0 up on the night. And it's enough at the minute. As Alonso gets it to Fidalgo. Chips over the top. Freeman does well. Balikci brings it down. Up to Scully, who holds up. Finds Lonsdale in off the right. Rare player for him out wide. Zheng flicks it on. Scully's in again. Mar Scully to seal it. But VAR will check. I'm not sure. I think it was Zheng who might have been off. Let's see the goal review with VAR. Goal awarded. We are going through in the Champions League, but we have dropped to 17th due to other results. So it will not be home advantage in the second leg. Linfield are up to 24th though. Despite scoring again, Chelsea have managed to get Linfield up to 24th. As Ingo Almeria, that's poor defending, but we're getting away with the woodwork tonight. So as it stands, yes, these results mean we miss out on the top 16, but it means both us and Linfield go through, which is incredible. And a sneak through with 9 points would be fairly fortunate for them, as Scully's in. There's the difference. 2 goals in 12 minutes. Mark Scully has wrapped up the game. It is 3-0 to Lisburn Distillery. We are 17th. Linfield, though, are up to 24th. And if it stays there, that will be amazing for the nation. At the moment, our big win against Rangers is what's putting them through. But I think someone might have just gone above them there. I missed it. As we're past the 93-minute mark, I think it's heartbreak for Linfield. As Scully and Ademir run in. It's a good save by the keeper. Corner kick. What is the league table? Can I get it up on that screen? I don't think I can. I think it's cost them late on. Let's double check. We are through. We've done our job brilliantly. 3-0 to Lisburn Distillery. Please don't say they missed out by 1. They were in 24th. Oh, they're 25th. Rangers got to 10 points at the end. They picked up a draw. That was the change. They scored in the 88th minute against Sporting Lisbon. And if one of those had lost, Linfield would have been through on goal difference. 25th for Linfield. Heartbreak for them. We're 17th. We miss out on that home advantage. But we are through. And after last year, the extra 3 million helps. And a knockout round is progress for this football club. That is what we wanted out of this episode. Zheng, another masterclass off the bench. He could be a superstar. And we've got our eyes on another Chinese star as well. Let's go and have a look at the schedule though for when we're next going to be back. I think it's simple, isn't it? If we get a tie that isn't very comfortably winnable in the Champions League, we'll come back for the second leg of that one. I can't see anyone there between 9th and 16th that's an easy game. Albeit the likes of Celtic, Marseille and Porto, I'd say we've got a chance in. But that is what we're going to be back for, the second leg of that, unless we win the first leg or lose it by 3 or 4. And then we can start to focus, hopefully, on a big European run. Fingers crossed Lan can pull off a miracle as well, but I'm not expecting that. If you did enjoy this episode and you're looking forward to the rest of the season, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think of the idea of putting in a holding mid for the big away games. I feel like it might be the solution long term. If you want to stay up to date and find out how we do this season, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. And I'll see you back here next time for more big Champions League action as we look to make amends for last year with Lisburn Distillery.